Mine was the tree.
Then the tree did on the.
We're adjourning at 7:03 p.m. Great. Is Brenda going to call in? I think she was planning on being here. Okay, you want to give her a quick call? Okay, so I am going to call the regular monthly board meeting for the Village of Arena to order. It is Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024, and it is 7:03 p.m. And Denise, if you wouldn't mind doing a roll call, please.
Kate.
Here.
Raven.
Here.
Matthew.
Here.
Kristen. Here. Melissa.
Here.
Catherine.
Here. And the next item on our agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on our agenda is approval of the September 3rd, 2024 agenda. If I could get a motion, please.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
A motion from Melissa and a second from Kathy to approve the September 3rd, 2024 agenda. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is consent agenda. Items listed under the consent agenda will be approved in one motion without discussion unless any board member requests that an item be removed for individual discussion. If I could get a motion, please.
I'd like to remove the minutes, August 6 minutes.
I'm sorry?
Yep, that means you're.
All right, so remove both A, E, and F. Is that correct?
The August 6, 2024 regular board meeting minutes from the consent.
Because they're getting gotten us.
Yeah, so. All right, so we are removing both item A, the approval of the minutes from the August 6, 2024 regular board meeting, as well as number E, chimney lot appraisal agreement renewal. We have not received it. Number F, Johnson Block audit agreement renewal. We have not received that either. If I could get a motion.
I motion that we go to, I don't know if I'm saying this right, to consent to everything except A, approval of the minutes for August 6, 2024 regular board meeting, and E, chimney rack appraisal agreement renewal, and F, Johnson Block audit agreement renewal. I motion for them to go to be approved.
Second.
So I have a motion from Becca Raven, a second from Melissa to approve the consent agenda with the exception of A, approval of minutes from the August 6, 2024 regular board meeting, E, chimney rock appraisal agreement renewal, and F, Johnson Block audit agreement renewal. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is public comment. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, we need to go to the minutes, please.
Yes, I would like very much to go to the minutes. I'm very confused by an email I received from you, and I assume everyone has received this email from you, Kate, regarding grammar errors. It says, hello, Becca Raven, in the interest of efficiency and respect for board members and Denise's time, I'm requesting that you refrain from calling out minor grammar, spelling, or insignificant typing errors during board meetings. Please email Denise with any of the above-mentioned items prior to the board meeting so that she may make any necessary corrections. Of course, significant errors that changes the meaning of any minutes should be addressed during a board meeting. Denise's minutes are already very readable and understandable in her current format, and I'm not asking her to change her format. I'm very confused by this email. I would think everybody else is, that you received it, right?
The reason why I brought this
You
up,
all received it, correct?
you and Matthew received it.
Why?
The reason why I brought this up is because it's an efficiency for board members' time as well as Deneen. You can email her prior to the board meetings to make corrections on any of these insignificant changes.
None of it is insignificant, Katie, they're public records.
Of course, that's why I'm asking, please contact Deneen prior to the meeting so she can make these corrections.
Why?
So that the minutes are corrected on the board packet when we receive them.
And that's what we do during this meeting if we
I
do something. That is
don't-
what we do during this meeting.
I'm asking out of respect for board members' time and Deneen's time, because we all have families to take care of. Please contact her prior to the board meetings, please.
That is not necessary. This is,
I believe it is.
well, that's you, Kate, but that's not what.
I'd like to know what other board members, how do other board members feel about this?
I would like minutes to be sent out and draft after the meeting so people can send edits to the meeting prior to the meeting.
So,
I totally agree. I agree with that.
Send them out in a draft form, we can send any edits prior to the meeting, and we have a finalized copy at the meeting.
Absolutely not. How many of you caught the date differences that were in earlier meetings? Did any of you even look at it? That's what this is the meeting that
but
we do
those
that.
would be what I consider significant changes.
Well, and if you
With
get the
dates.
draft, then you can make those changes, and then what is presented in the board meeting is corrected.
Yes.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, what is wrong with that?
For one thing, the board packet may come over the weekend, but doesn't always. It's been better. But Monday, when Deneen is available, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm at my full-time job. So when I'm done with my full-time job, how am I?
I would like them earlier though, Becca. I would think as soon as possible after the meeting to send them and draft them to us.
How is this so inappropriate to quickly go through if any area errors or anything that's confusing is corrected?
That's why I'm asking.
She's not saying not to correct.
I'm not saying do not correct them. I'm saying please do so
Just so we
prior
can keep moving.
to the meeting, so we can keep the meeting moving.
So I just want to say, I understand that Danny is busy, and for those of us who say, get the board packet on Monday, it's difficult to make requested changes prior to a board meeting on Tuesday. Because it's got to be, if we see something wrong on the agenda, an amendment can't be made to the agenda before the board meeting on Tuesday.
But to Melissa's,
Yeah, it's fine.
Melissa's suggestion that when Deneen gets the minutes done, even prior to them being in the packet, that she can send the minutes to board members to make these
I have no objection to
corrections.
that.
So that is, and this is, makes our time at the board meeting more efficient.
I agree. I have no objection to what Melissa said. If we're able to get parts of the board packet ahead of time, it makes it easier for all of us to review and then request changes from the meeting. I think the timing of things is the hardest part of that.
Deneen, is that possible for you, once you have the minutes created, that you can get those to the board prior even to the packet for review?
By Thursday, so we can review it and get our comments so they can get them Monday morning.
I was hoping like within a week after our meeting to get minutes.
In the draft form, because they are.
Assuming we don't have elections and other things taking her time, in a normal month, like week and a half.
10 days to get minutes done for my job description.
Oh, so perfect. So can you send the draft minutes within 10 business days, please?
But will that be a consistent thing? Because that would be lovely. Yes.
Well, if it's in her job description, it will be a consistent thing. I'm sure she gets them done, she just doesn't send out the Dropbox
That would be
notice.
excellent. That makes sense.
From going forward, then, Deneen will accommodate board members by getting the draft minutes out prior to the packet for board members to review and make any necessary corrections, if any.
And they'll be called draft.
Yes,
And then
let me draft.
finally-
Correct. Absolutely correct.
At 10
So,
days.
if,
Yeah, 10 days.
10 business days.
yep. So if I could get a motion, I guess I already have a motion. Becca Raven, you made a motion, and Melissa so I guess we need it for the minutes for this
Make a motion
change.
that we approve the minutes from the August 6,
Yeah.
2024 regular board meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion from Kristen and a second from Melissa to approve the minutes from the August 6th, 2024 regular board meeting. All those in favor? Aye. And then I have to make a motion for the remaining, is that not correct? Or, we already have a motion on the floor for the remaining items, B, C, and D. Becca Raven made a motion for those items. Melissa seconded, if I can get them.
We
Or, well,
already did that.
we already did, okay, we did that.
Just an outline for the minutes.
Okay, so, public comment is next. Anybody? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6 is public comment. So, first person on the agenda, or on public comment is Paul Pacina.
Mr. Schrader wasn't here for my comments during the meeting. Talked about as far as raises for employees. I believe right now Mr. Miley should be the only village employee getting a raise at this point in time with what he said to deal with. Troy, I believe he does deserve a raise contingent on passing the water test. I do not believe our village clerk deserves a raise. I believe she should be put on a PIP agreement, just due to the fact that what was just discussed here a few minutes ago, and the fact that during our board meeting, she told the trustee to get real when the trustee was just asking questions and wanting information. And I asked for a board packet for August. I got it a good time, thank you for that. But I couldn't share it with anyone because there's a restriction on it. That's public information. There should be no restrictions. A village clerk with experience that Mrs. Niger has should not make those errors. That you need to be also, she needs to be more social, more friendly. Then my other part is MSA. MSA in the village, we're told not to build a lift station as big by Town and Country Engineering, and it still went through. I do question some other, this recent one with the electrical, how could that happen? The other thing with the gas lines, you have a responsibility, you're in charge of the project. So I really have questions as far as MSA as an engineering firm representing the village. Thank you.
Monica Reeve.
My big question is, what are our taxes going to be going for if in our bedroom community, we still need police, fire, and EMS coverage? I don't see how you can conscionably depend upon mutual aid.
Next item is, or person is Sue Pacina.
Good evening. I'm here to represent AX. We met last week. We had a wonderful turnout. We continue to get new people joining us. We had a lot of good discussions. Big concerns were our EMS service and public safety. One resident expressed a deep concern. His wife is recently diagnosed with a heart condition, and he's very concerned about the future of our services, as I am too. And he is reading articles in the LA Sentinel and the Home News and asked what the heck is going on. So we did have a nice discussion. We tried to, it's a nice place to join or to come to meet and we can all discuss. And basically we're telling people you need to get involved, you gotta come to the meetings and you gotta stay informed. Then ACT also discussed, we want to sponsor a community event, and so you can look forward to something like that happening. We're committed to building community relationships and getting to know our neighbors and making Arena a great place to live. Thank you.
Bill Prohaska.
I just wanted to comment on the culvert issue. You're talking about going down Pine Street, correct? Alright, I've been down in that area for 20 years now, and pretty much we've been ignored down there with the water situation. Be nice if somebody tried to do something. I'm not so sure I'm not sure how effective it'll be, but at least someone will be doing something rather than just turning a blind eye and saying, oh, that's too bad. But, yeah, that was my comment, I guess.
Thank you. All right. So next item on our agenda is Zach Adams from MSA, update on projects, interceptor sewer, well house, village edge, railroad crossing, South Street sewer main fix. Before we start, I do recall when we were, and this is with the lift station, when that was being developed, I do recall specifically that it was supposed to be like powered down, if I'm using the correct term. According to Town and Country, that didn't happen, but in the planning stages, I do specifically remember that that was supposed to more closely match the pumping capability of Gain, Iowa. Am I wrong on that?
Unfortunately, when I was here, that was after the design of that project, so I wasn't involved in any of the design of it. To my knowledge, I believe the impellers or the pumps were made to be a bit larger than it was before because they'd be taking on more flow South Street now being down and for improved capability for industrial uses. Though I could be wrong on this factor, and I can definitely look into that and get back to the board next month.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not a wastewater engineer and don't know much
Sure.
about that side of things.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could just, give us a little update on that.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries on it.
Okay.
Quick note about that real quick. Manhole won't be as corrosive on concrete. It's probably last a little longer than a typical manhole. But like I said, we're still, the main thing for JI is the paperwork side of things. JI didn't lose their existing project manager, Ryan Walters, end of last year. So Sarah Morrison, they're having office administrators trying to take over and pick up on where Ryan left off as far as all the clean water fund stuff. And so she's having a bit of trouble. So I've been helping her here and there along the way and hopefully get this wrapped up. But like I said, they're hoping to have everything kind of finalized, pretty close to finalized in next month's meeting as far as the paperwork side of things. It doesn't seem like BNR has any issues with this. They'd rather look at it once it's all done anyway and not try to piecemeal it together. So any questions about the sewer project?
So when you said for hydro clean, was that the one where it kind of, the sewer line kind
It was
of?
back pitched, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, the pipes were going the opposite direction. You should have let the manhole.
Yeah.
So we had to get a new base. But
Yeah.
the base ended up being just a blank section. So in the bottom of the manhole, you have flow lines that direct the flow that comes in from the pipes to where you want it to go. This base section is basically just an open hole. So all the ways I was dumping, it was just swirling around.
Yeah.
There wasn't, so there was actually a little bit of what we call a sump, where the bottom of the manhole was actually lower than the pipe that could exit. So it was holding water in waste. So that's why they had to put in this line or a special product, it's a plastic product that's made specifically for the manholes, basically format flow line. So that plastic, basically it's like a pipe cut in half, so they can set it in place. The flow can go through that, and then they can pour concrete around it so it sits in the process. So it's the picture is they clean out the area too, so it's nice and clean, and it's pretty nice. So it's pretty nice. Any other questions? I did do a kind of a walkthrough last week on Friday, I think it was, I think after we talked. I walked through to see what kind of items and punch lists that they've gone through so far. They still have a decent amount of work to do on it. So I'm trying to get the contractor going. He's definitely going to do it, but he's got to coordinate with all the subcontractors to do a lot of the work that's been done. Luckily, they did start doing the rehab work that changed over at Wellhouse 1 last week. I believe how far they got.
They got the floor done,
Yep.
but in doing so, they broke one of my injectors, so that well is not running right now until the injector is made and shipped to us. They hopefully will be here Friday.
Yeah, so it's the chemical injectors to treat the water. They broke one of them off.
But everything is painted, the floor is done, it's ready to be back online as soon as that injector gets here.
So making progress, taking a step back, hopefully making more progress here with that. But Craig is in a similar state where he doesn't have much experience with clean water plant projects like this. So that paperwork is definitely building up on it, like I said. Same with GI, I've been setting examples, what they're supposed to do for some things, so hopefully speed along that process and work through that with them. There is one discussion item, I know the last meeting I mentioned that the electrical engineer had installed some lower-end products in the well house, and now we were added that on the punch list to be addressed. The electrical engineer is proposing, instead of replacing lights, a deduct of $1,800, it's around $1,500. Reviewing it, he's also looking to add in, Rich had him do some side work at Wellhouse 1, like replace an outlet, if he has to replace a light switch, or do some rewiring.
The light.
Yeah, rewiring for a light. He also rewired all the lights and put new lights in the Wellhouse 1, so it's having a lot brighter in there. So he's asking that he take that deduct and also include the work that he has done there that was supposed to be built separately, and take that instead of replacing the lights at Wellhouse 2. He said he can replace the lights at Wellhouse 2. It's just a matter of timing. He can certainly do it, but we don't know what that time frame is. The reason he didn't get the lights that we spec'd in is because they were 5 months on back order. So we wanted to make sure he got them in while they were doing the work instead of waiting that 5 months. But he didn't ask for any permission to do that. And with the light fixture, I mean, one light fixture looks like one thing, and one looks like this. It's hard to tell the difference in time before we did this walkthrough. So his MSA's recommendation is to accept the deduct. The product is still safe for the environments it's in. Like I said, it's just a little unwanted.
And that will affect our loan application or,
No, they'll put it on the minimis. It's small enough that it doesn't matter if it's that product. I guess it doesn't need to be EIS. But it's, as long as there's record of it being accepted, it's not a problem. But that's not like a change order, formal document like a change order. This is something we could include in a change order that states for the deduct, and then DNR had to work with it.
and hours on the light are no different, we're not like getting something we're gonna have to replace faster.
No, it's still LED bulbs, bolts and everything, it's just a picture itself, it's just a bit different.
Kind of going back to this injector, and that was broken because of doing
The floor.
Yeah, they must have just hit it or bumped it or
Yeah.
something.
expense.
The grill painting is gonna get the expense of it.
Okay.
You guys did it.
Okay.
So I don't know how the board feels about one way or the other for the pictures.
It just feels kind of like, just feels like, why is this person doing these things and not communicating first? Like, who are these people? Were they the lowest bid and we're just, you know, like, what is their level of integrity for work? I mean, it's kind of after the fact, but that's what I'm like going, what? What's wrong? What's happening? It's weird. So the back order of the light fixtures are no longer on back order because they were taking too long. It's, the remedy's been put into the well house too, and yet it wasn't what we ordered, and now we're stuck with what we have.
No, so what we had spec out a specific product that we called for. When he went to order that, he saw it was a 5-month, this is his words, he saw it was a 5-month back order on it. So instead of waiting to get those lights, he didn't order them, he just got lights that he could install right then and there. So the fixtures that he did install are not what we expect. Okay, so they're like a lower level, I guess as far as cost goes, they're cheaper, but they still have the same functionality of the lights we spec. They're still rated to be in the conditions of a low house, with chemicals cleaning the water and everything. So it's just a matter of cost that he saved, and that's what the speed up is for. As I ran it by our electrical engineers, they didn't see a problem with the fixture. Like I said, it's just a matter of, because it's a funded project, since it's not, if the DNR catches, oh, they put in this fixture and it called for this, they're not gonna like that if they catch it, so that's why we want to go through this formal process of a change order.
So that we're catching it.
So that we're catching it and the DNR doesn't call it out.
But shouldn't we be catching it before he's doing that?
Yeah, and that's the hard thing is when he submits one thing and does another thing.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the punch list, though, is that's when it's caught.
Yes.
That's why we do it, that's why we pay the engineer. That's when you're gonna catch it.
Sometimes it seems like you gotten away with it, you would, and then you got 81 months.
And they found a handful of items that he did and they were holding his feet to the fire. This is just one of the remedies he's proposing right now. That's on the lower end of the
And
spectrum.
what company is this again?
Electric design.
I think so.
Electric designs.
Do you know the difference in cost between all of his short route and what we're paying him?
Right now, the only thing I'm aware of is these light fixtures at $1,800. It might be a little bit more considering there's also factored in some of the, or might be a little, I don't know the true cost difference between the two products themselves off the top of my head now. And that's kind of recommendation is, I don't think it was that significant of a difference. Talking with the electrical engineers, it's just, like I said, it's not the product that we actually expect. And that's also the hard thing that we're slowly trying to change is providing multiple products, because it seems every year something changes, especially with the Made in America stuff. Is that one product we allow 1 year, it's discontinued or something, and they don't have anything to spec, so we have to go through a change order process regardless. But
We need to make a motion to.
I guess I'm just looking at this for discussion at this point. Like I said, I'll have a formal change order with this in there for a point. I just wanted
Find
to,
anything else while we're at it.
yeah, but I just wanted to gauge the board's kind of opinion on it and see which way they're leaning towards.
Do you know how much the work done at Well House 1 was valued at?
I do not. I wasn't aware of it until I think after the punch list that came out. I was talking with Rich.
So if we don't agree to these fixtures, then he'd have to order the other ones.
Yeah, he'd have to
Are
replace it.
5 weeks out, and
Yeah, I don't know how far they are out at this point. And that's the concern, is that they're going to be still back ordered, and now we're pushing this project along even further. Like blank pictures that doesn't work, like I said. It's like up to the board. If they want to replace them, he said he can replace them. No problem, it's just a process thing.
I'd like to see, I'm not opposed to it, I would just like to see actual figures, and I want the actual schematics for both lights, so they can be compared to the board. I think it's worth considering, I just need all the information.
Understandable.
I mean, and basically, there has to be prior approval. You know, not just do something.
Right, and that's the point of a shop charter review, we review the products they submit. And we've had this come up on some items before in the past where they submitted a product, they weren't able to get it, and usually they will submit a different product instead, not just go ahead and install it. That's never been an issue. Or sometimes they'll submit 2 products to get accepted because they don't know the likelihood of which will get.
So, I mean, is this the only time that this has happened? Is that this was done without prior approval? This is the only item.
I think there were some other ones, in like, I think there was a lighting cabinet that got moved. It doesn't affect the functionality, it just was supposed to be like when you open the door to the house, it's supposed to be right there, right by the door, but it's on a different wall by the other lighting components, so there was just less wiring he had to do, but it doesn't affect the functionality of it at all. Everything works as it's supposed to, it's just when you walk in, you have to walk just the extra steps to get to the back.
So how does DNR look at something like that?
That, something like that is minor. Like I said, there's no functional change at all. It's just purely more of aesthetics in that case.
So do we like have to have electric design kind of put on the probation list of companies we want to use whenever we're doing something?
So you can, there are options like in Richland Center, we do pre-approvals for contractors where we can go through, they can apply, and we can kind of, from that list, allow, disallow, you just have to have a reasoning for not allowing them, or blacklisting them. So Richland Center's done that because they've gotten burned on some huge projects where there's a huge loss to them. I think like rural construction blacklisted for a while, but it's changed, not allowed everything. So that's something you can proceed with for future projects. It's just some more time obviously involved with that.
Just asking.
Yeah, no problem.
Ready to move on?
All right, in case of the Village Edge Road, I do have some more, I guess, not super happy, but better news than last time. I was able to talk with Stacy Herda and his supervisor, Todd, and kind of explain how upset the board is at with the rail crossing right down the trail and how it hasn't been done. We were told 2 separate dates, extending out 6 months, and then we're told it wasn't in order and that wasn't going to happen this year. So luckily, they were able to kind of move some funds around from some projects that they didn't spend their budget on. So they purchased the material for it, and then he said, as once the material arrives, then he can let me know as soon as they're going to actually do the work itself. So like I said, they basically have to have budget released to buy the materials for their jobs before they can do it. Obviously, the village is paying for the portion of the trail crossing the railroad tracks, but they still had to fund their work, where it was the street piece, redoing the crossing across the road. So like I said, they were able to move some funds around and pay for that, and then they have some capital funds they can use for the waiver for it. So like I said, I'll just keep you guys updated as I hear from the railroad as far as when they're going to expect to be done.
Do we anticipate this year on?
He's hoping so, but
Oh my gosh.
Is this kind of a wish or is it a real thing?
well, it's a real thing because they're going to have materials. It's just a matter of when it comes in. His big issue was that their budget got cut for next year. So he's like, if it doesn't get purchased this year, it's definitely not going to happen next year. And who knows after that, they keep cutting it. So luckily, he's like, we were able to buy it. So now it's just a matter of scheduling between our other projects and getting it done. He's like, as soon as we have it, he'd like to get it done as soon as possible. Obviously.
Could that have been term?
No, unfortunately not.
So hopefully for December.
It hopefully will be for mid-November. Because that's usually the cutoff of paving. It's got to be above 50 degrees or 50 degrees of climbing. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm calling every week to check in. So,
Yeah, I know I contacted Ken last week too, I did not receive a reply.
yeah. And that's, like I said, about all I have. We'll just keep working on the punch list I have been targeting and hopefully get that paperwork finalized and get these projects closed out.
Did you see her for the South Street?
I haven't yet to get, he's still not on the opening. It probably will be, said like a last minute thing where they're able to find something, like if they finish a job sooner, he still probably right away.
And you said that was South Street?
That, yeah, South Street, yeah, South of Washington there. But it seems all the grass that we had put down is kind of coming in nicely, so definitely a lot more hopeful. I do see some weeds there, so just a recommendation to any homeowners is to try to get those weeds out of there before they seed. That's the harder, you can start spreading pretty easily. And especially since we don't have rain forecast, and make sure to water your lawns as well. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Zach. Next item is the President's Report, and this is a reminder of our special board meeting to be held September 5th, 2024 at 7 p.m. This is going to be between the town of Arena, the village of Arena, and also Mazo District 1 EMS. It's an informational meeting, so we will not be making any motions at that meeting. So just make sure you have that on your calendar. Next item, monthly maintenance report.
It's not hooked up?
No, it's not hooked yet.
Why not?
Well, they said it can't be anything.
Oh, but it's still a service that we try to provide.
Okay.
So the, Rich,
Yes.
on the door knockers for DNR requirements, do you
Yeah.
think you're gonna get,
I just sent out another 26 today. I did 60 2 weeks ago, got 50, I think it was 57 in-home inspections done. I hung out 25 today, got calls coming in, I'm gonna try to do 25 or so tomorrow. I got 166 to do total, and there's a couple of them that were filled out wrong, and some of them that are unknown, that they filled out unknown. I have to go in there and check that, because if that's not known by November 15th of this year, I think the DNR is gonna require them to have those pipes from the curb shut off to their house redone on their cost. So it's anything that's classified as lead, unknown, or galvanized has to be replaced by November 15th of 2024. That's on the landowner, on the household person. So I do have to do some that sent the paperwork back in that said unknown. Unknown is another inspection. And so while I'm in there, I'm doing a cross-connection inspection that will do a 10-year, it'll be good for 10 years. And this is due by October 16th, so that's why I'm doing, and this went out on that survey that we did earlier this year, with the police survey. This is what it looks like. That was sent out. There was 180, some of them returned, 166 did not. So that's what I'm going back through and making appointments, door knockers. So one person called me tonight and said that she didn't receive it, but when I talked to her about the police report, the police questionnaire, she received that. I said, well, if you received that, then you received the other. And other ones say, well, I got something from the village of Arena, I just threw it away because I didn't think it was that important. I've heard every excuse.
Did you send it to every household?
We sent it to every, not well,
they didn't.
not this one, if they had a
You already have-
cross-connection inspection already done, you did not get that one. Because we do not need that, we already have that information. It's for lead and copper service line inventory that the DNR is requiring the whole state of Wisconsin to do. So it's just not the village of Arena that's doing this. So I got everything from the park east done. Now I'm working, today I went from north of the tracks to the park. Tomorrow I'm gonna start like down here on West Street and go down Brown and in front of my house.
Rich, I'm sorry, are there two separate things you're checking for? Or
No, I'm just doing a cross-connection
it's
inspection.
just all the cross connections?
Yes, but in that cross-connection inspection, there was a thing sent out
Yeah,
earlier this year that had all that in it.
yes. But it would all be covered. If you
But-
had somebody come, you came, or Troy came for the cross
Yes.
connection, all that was taken
Yes, all
care of.
this is taken care of then, but this does not do a cross-connection inspection. This is just doing a line inventory, what's coming in out of your floor is what they're asking. And that's what you have in your house. If you check unknown, galvanized or lead, that has to be replaced by November 15th of this year. And when I fill this out, I send it in to the DNR, they're gonna have records of it, and then they will, I don't know what their thing is. They may send people out to make sure, because they do not want lead in a safety thing.
I just want to make sure, if you had the cross connection, then that paper,
We would-
that additional paperwork got filled out.
Yes, we would already know that if there was lead or copper in there, so we wouldn't have to worry about it.
So is there certain years of homes that we're targeting looking at
Um,
on that list?
The problem is the DNR, there's a guy sitting in Madison, doesn't know how old your house is. He just doesn't, he knows that you're getting water at your residence. 1986, they stopped using lead lines, it was banned in 1986. So that's why I did the easy part first, because all those houses, 95% of those houses were built after 1986.
Okay.
This is the hard part now, because all these older houses are gonna be a lot more to look at. And I had some people earlier this year call me. Me and Troy did do walkthroughs for them, we filled that out for them, because they were too old and they didn't want to go down their steps because it was an outside access, or they just didn't want to go downstairs.
Are there any other questions on the maintenance report? All right, hearing none, we are moving on to the clerk treasurer report.
I did provide the DOA preliminary population estimate, but you can challenge if you'd like.
Do you think the increase is accurate of 44 persons?
They're pretty close, yeah.
So are we under it all, or?
No, they're finally catching up from the 2020 census. They didn't get all this new houses, so now it's catching up to 1,000 workers.
Can I read the first part of that so that the audience knows what we're talking about?
Sure.
Okay. Dear Municipal Clerk, the Demographic Services Center's preliminary estimate of the January 1st, 2024 population for the Village of Arena in Iowa County is 888. This represents a change of 44 persons, 5.21% since 2020 census. And then it goes on to say Wisconsin's total population is estimated at 5,989,250, which is a change of 95,532 persons and 1.62%. We're growing.
Thank you. All right. So any other questions on the clerk treasurer, or the other clerk report? Moving on. Under old business, revisit surplus property, police assets, grant items.
So VFW and Arena Manor both stated they would like an AED. I have not heard back from the fire chief on whether he would like the radios or the drone. Talked with Stephanie Bennett, she said the radios are not the same as what fire and EMS use, so they probably would not work for them. But indicated that the Iowa County Sheriff's Department may be interested in those, but if not, we still have to take them in and get them wiped out or whatever it is. They don't have access if we decide to sell those. Same with the laptops, out of county sheriff's office may be interested, and if not, we have to send them to get wiped out as well. But I have not heard anything if they're interested in the drawing from fire chief. Everything else has been put on the surplus, September 16th is the ending date of that. The police interview room system is still in the back room, and it's all in the ceiling. And it's 15 years old, which pretty much said it's outdated, probably wouldn't be worth our time to strip it out and try to sell it, we wouldn't get anything, so we'd just be wasting our time. So it's still installed and will remain there as far as I'm concerned, it's quite nice to come and strip it. And still getting the guns, we still have possession of the guns, so I'm going to put those on the list for selling it. Still waiting. Still waiting.
So they have possession of guns, or you have, we have the guns?
We do not have possession of the guns.
All right. Any questions on those
Yeah,
items?
why don't we have?
Yeah, so is it that our previous officers still have the guns that belong to the village?
Some of them are back secured, the shotgun, the rifle, and that kind of stuff is still back there.
Back there. So what guns do we not have possession of?
The handguns.
And what's being done to have them turned in?
Attorneys.
Oh, okay, good.
Any other questions?
We have to maintain retention ponds, detention ponds. We have to maintain the Army Corps of Engineer pond. That ditch should have been maintained, and boards after the fact should have put it back in place, maintained it, and the culvert should have been replaced. If it was broken down, it should have been replaced. So I'm just bringing it back that it is taxpayers that are affected down there, and it's a negative effect on their property values, as well as there's a lot of health and just property damage and health issues. So I believe we need to take a look at this, and I believe we need to do it sooner than later. I did have a situation that will probably affect other houses in that area. My sewer backed up, and in digging down in it, it could have been a 1 to 2 day fix. It turned into 4 because there's too much water, and the comment was made of, don't you guys have anywhere for the water to go out of this block? And it's completely landlocked, and so there is no quicker movement of water, and a culvert and a ditch would definitely improve those things. So I'm asking that our public works, don't want to put more on you, Rich. I'll definitely help you. Look into getting a culvert put back in, drain tiles or ditch, whatever would be the best option for all of it. I've spoken to most of the people in the area who are in agreement and are frustrated and have suffered damage and lots of cost, and as taxpayers should expect a little more from our village. So,
Kathy, can I ask you a question? Where was the old culvert, or?
at the end of Pine Street onto Helena Road, it went under Pine Street, heading west. And that whole side of that field on the south side of Helena, or what's the name of it? Pine Road, was a ditch.
You don't mean
Yeah,
No.
No,
yeah,
Pine Road.
Pine Road.
It's Pine Road.
Pine Street, Pine Road. Pine
So
Road
right
goes
where
down
that
the west
turns,
part.
Right
No,
there.
it was on the other side.
Oh, Oak turns, but it's the next field
Yeah.
on the other side of
Yeah.
Cheryl's property.
Yeah.
Oak turns into
So
Pine. Right at the corner, the end there?
Yep.
Was it? Okay.
Because you
I
can
just
see where
tried to
there is
get
a
visual where it was.
dip there.
One meeting.
I believe there's things that can be done, and the problem is a lot of that was filled in, and that relates to my comments of boards after the ditch got filled in should have re-maintained that and possibly charged the landowner who filled it in. So you know, we still have to.
We've spent a considerable amount of time previously. We hired engineers to look at this, to try to solve this problem. And all of them came back with the same thing that Kristen just said. The elevation rises going towards West Park. And regardless of what we would do, the water is going to run down towards Pine Street, towards Oak Street, because that's the lowest point. So no matter if we put in a culvert, you're just creating the opportunity for the water to go through the culvert instead of coming up through the ground.
I find that really interesting because there has been sewer things going to the sewer lagoon, so when you say that it increases, it's because the ditch has been filled in. It was a considerable ditch heading west, and that's what needs to be replaced.
Okay?
Hey, the-
We have
Because
lines.
prior to that ditch and culvert being filled in and removed, there was no flooding in my basement. We had
Water
2
tables
bedrooms and
have
everything.
risen since that.
And I know what you're saying about water tables, but also water tables fluctuate with the amount of surface water and everything else that's on it. So you can't blame it all on groundwater. Because when it's a normal year and out of the season of rainy, I don't have water in my basement. So the groundwater isn't in my basement. It isn't in everyone's front yard.
So
It
you're
isn't
saying that
in
engineers-
everyone's backyard. It isn't in making the whole field flow. It isn't in all of that.
So you're
That's
saying
not
the engineers
groundwater. That's surface water from
wrong.
stormwater.
That's what you're saying.
I'm
The
saying,
surface water should
I'm
then seep
saying
into the
they are
ground.
making their,
Based on the soil around here, then.
and
then
they're also
surface water
making their
should
things based on,
go into the ground.
the thing is filled. The ditch is filled.
So I remember, you know, when that was done, the engineer at that time, it's basically, you know, there's really no rise.
There's no ditch.
However, water will flow, it'll be
Mhm.
slow, but it will flow.
Mhm.
My question too is, and of course, this would encompass going across Pine Street, or I mean, Pine Road, if it went into the opposite ditch, but that's the township's portion. I mean, there has to be something done to try to alleviate some of the issues.
The problem is all the streets around that block, you know, the road is pounded down, it's been raised up, there's absolutely no fast alleviation of stormwater and surface water. And I understand the ground table stuff, but the problem is when you get 6 to 8 inches of rain, there is nowhere for that to flow out of those areas, out of Prohaska's yard, out of my yard, out of White's yard. There's nothing there. So I still believe a culvert's gonna get water to move and at least have a way for it to exit out.
So if the water table's low enough, the water should, by any,
I'm not saying it doesn't flow at all, because
that's
it
not what
will.
I'm still talking, so let me finish, please. The water should dissipate into the ground.
And a portion of it does now.
Okay, but you shouldn't have standing water unless the water table is too high.
And you shouldn't have standing water if you had a way for it to move on the
It's not gonna
surface
change
as
the water
well.
table.
I'm not talking about the water table, I'm talking about surface water from rainstorms. So you have storm water, does not equate to the water
So
table.
it doesn't dissipate into the ground. Doesn't absorb
At
to the
some
city.
does, and I'm just saying, if you've got everything running down into this area and there's nothing like a culvert for it to pass through, it's gonna sit there. And it has to wait for the evaporation and the slow removal that way. But if you had a culvert, it's gonna move much faster. So it'll alleviate a lot of that problem, cost, damages, health issues, everything else, if you just get it moving. And that's all I'm asking.
So I just have a question, Rich. Did you, and correct me if I'm mistaken, did you not say at one point that potentially if there were a culvert that went under Pine Road to the north side would it, flow better?
The north side of, how do I, the southwest side of Pine Road is higher than the southeast side, which is Kathy, or the landlock. It's lower over there.
Mm-hmm.
Prohaska's on that side is lower than Kathy, so if you put one under Oak Street to alleviate water from there, water's gonna go from Kathy's over to the new development, so they don't want that. That would be, to me, that would be done, because you're
Well,
pushing.
we already have equal water.
I understand that,
So
but
if you get a
But
culvert
if you-
and a ditch with some slope to the other ditch, that's all gonna start flowing.
no, but we don't want to push water east.
No, I'm saying push it west.
I know, but
That's where the ditch needs to go
Lowest
back in,
is
side
east.
of field.
Right, want to just roll
it's,
that?
Lester Baker's is high, yours is lower, Prohaska's is lower. You're going lower this way, is what I'm saying down there right now.
So if
You're
you-
going lower east, and you want to push the water west, which is uphill.
And that's why I'm saying
I
there
know.
has to be something done to correct the flow, and that is in a culvert and a ditch that takes the grade down to where it can come out that end. So drain tiles are an idea, because in agricultural fields, they can put drain tiles in and make it flow out of their fields and
Yes, well,
get it to
There's
from
money-
lowest
money
point
can make
to
anything
lowest
happen.
point.
I,
We've got 11 households, and we've got development coming that they're taxpayers too. We can't keep ignoring the problem.
so how much money are you wanting to spend on having?
I think we just need to look into what it
Some-
would cost to do that, or a joint
Somebody to
time.
come in and
And start.
give me an estimate on that.
Yeah, we
'Cause I
need to
can
have
have-
some numbers.
I can have like a guy like, say, Mindsy Construction out of Sauk, come down and tell me what it's gonna cost to get a ditch from
What would it cost to resolve it? Is what, I mean, I don't want
Well-
to just tell us what it would cost to put a ditch in, because they'll
But
happily put a ditch in, but it might
that's-
not
but that's
resolve the
gonna-
problem.
and ask them if it's possible. If they put a ditch in on this side, on the south side of the road, because I don't think we can push it to the east side, north side of the road, because that's
That's township.
That's township.
Yeah,
township.
that's kind of
So,
the issue that I'm
but on the
mentioning.
east, south side of the road, we have a gas main in there too.
Yep.
There's a gas main that runs on the south side of Pine Road all the way to that development down there.
It sounds like
See,
it's.
that's-
Well, at one point, Baker's farmed all the way up on the road, it was when Paul was on the board, that it was brought to our attention, and we discussed fixing it. I don't know if anything happened with it, though.
I don't think anything happened. I think he
No.
just kept farming until he finally got up to the ditch.
Because they were farming and filled in the ditch, because he
Yeah.
pushed it all the way over,
Yeah.
because there was a ditch there.
Where,
There was more of a ditch along the side of the road than what there is
It was a
now.
big.
on the north side?
South side.
South side.
South side of Pine.
Right on top of the force main that went down the sewer lagoon.
At one time,
Les-
it was
Because
tough
Lester,
places.
Lester wouldn't listen. He kept plowing, he was told not to, and he kept doing it.
Well, but the problem is here we are today.
Well, so the question is, if we're fixing something that was done by someone, can the bill be passed to them? He filled it in, not the village.
That would be probably court action, probably.
Yeah.
Well, it's no different than the person that put the damage on the road, we're sending them a bill. The question is, it's been a number of years, I can't remember what year it was that we told them to stop doing it. Because we told them to stop.
It was, yeah, it was a
He's stopped now. He's stopped.
number of years he was
He is
told
mislikely.
not to. And it is hard
There's
in that
still
area.
a party that's responsible for that one living there.
Well, would it make sense to find find out what it's gonna cost to repair. I mean, because we certainly need to do that. We certainly need to address this. This is not at all where
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
The problem is Lester's land is higher, Kathy's is lower, and the Prohaska's is even lower still.
When you're talking surface water,
I know.
for stormwater management, if it's graded right, it can work.
Yep. No, I'm not arguing the point.
It did work before the culverts were removed and the ditch was filled.
And a lot of that is because they built the road out around there, and they put those other ditches in, and notice how it goes up, and then it goes
You
down.
mean, are you talking Oak Street?
Behind the road. So you can see where it goes up, and then it has a ditch, and then it's lower on the other side of that.
We're in discussion on the board level. Please.
So,
And, you know what?
Yeah, we need estimates.
Okay, I make a motion that our public works can look into the costs and report back on putting a culvert and a ditch in at a grade that will move water that direction or in agricultural drain tiles.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Motion from Kathy, second from Melissa to get estimates, and if you could read the motion again, please, Kathy.
I make a motion to have Public Works look into the costs and report back on a ditch and a culvert being put in at a grade that can move water and or drain tiles.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next item on our agenda is Public Works.
Is Brittany still on?
How did you go, Brittany? On the last motion for item 12, the culvert ditch and getting a quote for and potential drain tile. Oh, was it aye or nay? I couldn't, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm an aye.
Oh, it was yes. Thank you, Brittany.
All right, so I'm ready to move on. So Public Works is the next item on our agenda.
All right. We just had discussions about developing a pickleball court. And Nick isn't here, but we have put it into our potential budget. Sounds like it's really coming from the thing, and a lot of people that play pickleball, and I've got it already. And then we review the budget. So it's being sent to finance, not six, for Public Works today.
Okay. So is
Can I
that,
can I have a quick number? Sure. I'm excited that we're coming up with something else that residents can do in our village and other ways that we can be having people come into the parks. This is exciting.
Yeah, it would be cool.
makes arena more fun. So next item, if there are no further comments or questions, next item on our agenda is finance, technology, and licensing.
We had a closed session to discuss employee performance and potential increases. We came out of closed session with a recommendation to, for the insurance specifically, we want to look at offering health insurance. So what we're going to do is we are going to budget 9 months where we continue to do the stipend. And then for the remaining 3 months, we are going to budget to get into the, what I call catastrophic health insurance. And so what that is because we have no experience rating, we pay a much higher premium. So the plan there is to get one employee to take the insurance, and we will help defray the cost because it's insubordinate. It would be like just the employer share on single coverage is like $1,300 a month, over $1,300. So if we help with one employee to get in, then we'll have an experience rating, and then our employees will be able to join for 2026 and have offered normal health insurance that's not at catastrophic rates, is what I call it. So we'll have an experience rating, we'll be able to have a much better rating and affordable health insurance as a benefit for our employees. For employees that continue to provide their own health insurance, then our other option for them will still be a stipend, but it will not be able to be as high in 2026 as we currently pay. There are limits on the amount, and I think it's like $2,000 or $2,500. So it's not as much, but it would give us the ability to have a compensation package that includes insurance. So that's the big takeaway for our employees. So that was our strategic planning session on how to maybe offer benefits and not have it cost the village $17,000 to get in year one. So, and other than that, we just did our payroll and our invoices and our online payments to Visa BP.
Right. Any more with finance? Okay, so Dane, Iowa, you can see the packet in, or Dane, Iowa's packet in the board packet. The board, or the commission did make a motion to go with the requirements or the recommendations for improvements, upgrades for the plant. At this point, what is going to be the plan is that Ben Heidemann from Town and Country will come to our board, he said either this month or next month, so obviously it's not going to be this month, to explain to the board what the plans are, go through the financing portions of everything. And at this point in time, originally it was going to be a 2024 start. Now it's going to be gone to 2026. There is going to be a public meeting at some point, and it's going to be held at the Dane, Iowa, garage where they keep their equipment. And I mean, pretty much that's it. We did decide, like I said, we went with the high priority list because our staff and engineer know best what is needed, for future improvements. And you have that in front of you in the packet. And so I'm looking forward to getting a date from Ben Heidemann at the August Dane, Iowa meeting for our board. Other than that, that's pretty much it. So, emergency response, there isn't anything. Was there a meeting with fire EMS? Okay. And then personnel, Kathy would like to make a comment.
Well, I also have Public Works Assistant Water Testing Certification requirements. And we discussed this as our Public Works Assistant has not passed his water testing certification, and he has offered to pay for it himself. And as we would like to keep him employed, there is a letter in our packet to Troy, and that he would try the testing again at his expense, and if he passes it by May 31st, he maintains his employment and other benefits as well. So we are giving him through May 31st to take that exam again and as many times as he feels he needs to, so.
Yeah, I think that's contingent, I mean, that's part of the job
Yes.
description. That's
So
what
if he
it
does
says.
not by May 31st pass it, he will be not employed.
But we have to have approval of that by the whole board.
Yes, that letter that's in here. Did you read the letter?
So have the board members had an opportunity to read the letter?
So I make a motion that we present Troy with the letter and the agreement with maintaining his employment with Arena by getting his certification by May 31st.
A second.
Second.
So I have a motion from Kathy, a second from Kristen to approve the letter being sent out to Troy McEwen with regard to the water certification test. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, the other comment I would like to make is that if the public or anyone else has any comments about any of our public employees, clerk or public works or anyone, they should be presenting them to the personnel committee or any of those members. They should not be discussing those things in public because that just is not in good form. That's my comment.
Great. Next item is Plan Commission, and we did not meet. Public Safety did not meet. There's nothing in information, is that correct?
Just the numbers.
Okay, yeah.
That's-
Okay, the item number 20. Okay. Okay.
Regarding item number 20, has the Public Safety Committee met? I only ask because one of the chief complaints of the board was that the Public Safety Committee was not meeting and reporting to the board. So I'm just wondering, why is it that we recreated a Public Safety Committee and now they're not meeting and reporting to the board?
Is there something we need to discuss? You want to bring to the Public Safety Committee?
Well, shouldn't they have input on fire EMS? That's public safety.
Well, I think maybe we need to get the information first and then we'll need to commit them.
Or maybe they should have been involved in the process and having conversations if they're going to be a part of that public safety. Or they should have had input maybe on selling police items because that's part of public safety. I'm just saying, if the board really wanted to get rid of public safety committee so they can get another public safety committee, and the chief complaint was the public safety committee never met and they didn't report to the board, it's been 3-4 months and there hasn't been a meeting. So it sounds like we've now created a committee that's going to do the same exact thing as the previous committee,
Is
which
there
makes it an
something,
ineffective committee.
is there something that you want to have brought to the Public Safety Committee that
They,
discussion?
like I said, they should be discussing fire EMS, they should be discussing what's happening with the police equipment, in my opinion, because that falls under public safety.
We made motions as a board, and Janine just reported to what's happening with this equipment.
Okay, so they shouldn't be meeting to have discussions about it? If it falls under their purview as a committee?
Well, the board dictates what they want the committee to do, so the board would then send it to the committee.
Really? So Public Works dictates what all the other committees, or the board dictates what all the other committees do?
No, with that committee specifically, they
Where does it say
advise
that
the
in the
board.
ordinance?
It's in the ordinance.
They advise the board, but I sort of semi-agree here. I mean, seriously, why haven't they met?
Why we have it.
Who is the chairman?
I guess
I'm not,
I
I'm just
haven't called a
asking a
meeting because
question.
I don't feel there's anything to discuss that
So
isn't
what-
already being discussed at board level.
so
Because if we advise the board and the board has already made decisions on those things, what is the time put into talking about selling our stuff. It's already happened. So I think that's a done
Too,
deal.
before that board was, that the committee was.
I believe the meeting before is when we formed the committee, but, I mean, it might have alleviated some of the stress Melissa had with trying to write new agreements. They could have taken that out as a committee. It just doesn't seem to make sense to
I
have
don't
a
think we
committee that
even
doesn't
need
do
a committee.
anything.
Personally, but
You voted in favor of it. So,
I've changed my mind since then.
it seems that
Okay.
there's a lot of,
Yeah, like, we're-
Yeah.
Yeah, so, there are numbers under item number 12, which, right?
I mean,
A motion to adjourn.
Wait. What did we say, Matthew, and what did we decide
You
to
said
do
this
about
was
the conversation?
addressing
We-
item number 12.
I'm sorry?
Did you say this was in reference to item number 12?
21.
Okay.
20, public safety, there's a report here from Mike Peterson. If I said 12, it was by mistake. I meant item number 20.
So this clarifies the previous numbers that we received, the 3-year total.
Correct. That was the question frequently that was asked.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had, I think the 3-year average was 1375,
Yeah.
and so this is saying that calls specifically restricted to the village of Marina averaged around 600. Which is helpful, because that's half, or less than half.
Okay.
600 is still a lot.
Any other comments, questions on item number 20 with the report from Sheriff Peterson? Okay, if not, item number 21 is information, and we do not have anything to that, so the next item is adjournment.
And a motion to adjourn.
Second. So I have a motion from Kathy, and a second from Melissa to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, and it is 18:22. Oh, Brittany.